A leading criminologist is calling for a fresh investigation into the murder of a woman in Lanarkshire in 1973. Professor David Wilson has told STV News he has evidence pointing to a new suspect over the death of Margaret McLaughlin in Carluke. And he says he's certain a man who served 20 years in jail for the crime is innocent. Our senior reporter Gordon Cree has the story.
In the marketplace in Carluke, a plaque carries the details of some prominent locals. From William Wallace to Joe Jordan, it celebrates those whose stories have stood the test of time. And now, 47 years after her brutal murder, there's a new push to honour the memory of Margaret McLaughlin by getting to the truth of what happened to her.
Clearly, this was a murder that took place in my hometown of Carluke. My sisters, who are older than me, were particularly affected by that murder. And for almost all of their lives, they have lived with the feeling and the belief that the wrong person was convicted of that murder.
Margaret, who was 23, lived on an estate near the railway station. On the evening of the 6th of July 1973, she left home to walk up and catch a train, but she never made it. She was stabbed 19 times and her body was found in woods close to the path. George Beattie was convicted of the murder and spent 2 decades in prison. Professor Wilson's book, to be published tomorrow, argues that was a miscarriage of justice. At the time, the case was led by legendary detective William Muncie.
Muncie had what I would now describe as confirmation bias. He set out to demonstrate that once he decided that George Beattie was guilty, despite evidence to the contrary, he set out simply to fit him up so that he would be arrested and charged and convicted of a crime that I have absolutely no doubt he did not commit.
During his review of the case, the professor identified a man who lived near to the murder scene as the potential killer. That person is still alive and in their 80s. The Crown Office says it will carefully consider any new evidence that comes to light.
I feel that there's not much time left now. My mother died and I would like to her to see me cleared, but that wasn't to be.
Professor Wilson has suggested this would be a fitting place for a memorial to Margaret McLaughlin to ensure that almost half a century after her death, her tragic part in this town's history is never forgotten. Gordon Cree, STV News, Carluke.